Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, HCR 2024 stipulates that the state of Arizona claims sovereignty under the 10th Amendment to the United States Constitution over all powers not otherwise enumerated and granted to the federal government by the Constitution. The HCR further states that this resolution serves as notice and demand to the federal government to immediately cease and desist mandates that are beyond the scope of these constitutionally delegated powers. Finally, the resolution demands that all compulsory legislation that directs states to comply under threat of civil or criminal penalties or sanctions, or requires states to pass legislation or otherwise lose federal funding, be prohibited or repealed. The bill outlines who shall receive a copy of this resolution, and there are no amendments. I'd be glad to answer questions.
Questions for Michelle? Hearing none. Representative Judy Burgess, would you like to speak in support of your bill?
Good afternoon. I am State Representative Judy Burgess, District 4, and thank you for hearing this bill. You know, the movement to express state sovereignty to our federal government picked up steam when the National Conference of State Legislators, the National Conference of State Governors, along with the American Association of Automobile Manufacturers, stood against the implementation of the Real ID Act. Arizona is now of 20 states pending legislation hoping to send the sovereignty message to our federal government. You know, you may think that a postcard or this resolution is just a memorial to Congress, but Arizona does not have, or the state legislature does not have a lobbyist in Washington, D.C. So this is one of the only ways that we have of sending the message to our Congress of what we feel in this state when it comes to our state sovereignty. You know, the real meaning of state sovereignty movement is much deeper than any particular issue or grievance an individual state might have. In the matter of sovereignty itself, the federal government has been trouncing our constitutional rights now for a good number of years, and we are a sovereign state in Arizona. We are not a branch of the federal government, and we need to be treated as a sovereign state. The state sovereignty movement builds on the 9th Amendment, the enumeration of the Constitution of certain rights, and it shall not be true to deny or disparage others retained by the people. And of course, the 10th Amendment, the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respective or to the people. The language and intent of this provision is to tell our national government that they are a limited entity in the constitutional framework, and none of the illegal assertions from Washington, D.C. and the Supreme Court over the years have been effective whatsoever in changing that core fact. And we are asking our federal government, as our agent, to cease and desist, effective immediately, mandates that are beyond the scope of these constitutional delegated powers. And in essence, we are telling them that our state is very cash-strapped at this particular time, and we cannot afford the unfunded mandates that they are imposing upon us. Thank you, and with that, I will be willing to answer any questions.
Question for Representative Burgess? None? Goodness. I will note that when you said Arizona does not have a lobbyist in Washington, D.C., several cards were held up out here, so offering their service.
The legislature.
Okay. Well, I think we have some people to read into the record then. And we even have a couple of people who like to speak to this. So why don't we, let's go with, or just one actually. Let's go with that first, Mr. Montenegro.
For it, we have Ronnie Marsh, representing Self.
Or not? All right. Let's go ahead and read in the others.
Not speaking neutral, we have Seth Apple, himself. Not speaking for it, we have Brian Turner, himself. If necessary, we have for it, John Wentley, Arizona Citizens Defense League. Not speaking for it, we have Dave Kopp, Arizona Citizens Defense League. And not speaking for it, we have Michael Becker, herself.
Okay. Members, if there is no further discussion, I will call for the roll call vote.
Mr. Antonori?
Aye.
Mr. Campbell?
No.
Mr. Chabin?
No.
Mr. Driggs?
Aye.
Mr. Gowan?
Aye.
Mr. Nichols?
Aye.
Mrs. Tovar?
No.
Mr. Montenegro?
Aye.
Mr. Crum?
Aye. Members, by your vote of 6 ayes, 3 nays, 0 present, 0 absent, you've given a due pass recommendation to HCR 2024.
Thank you.